this whole new law? How can it work to the best advantage?
Negotiation. If you have a great house, if you have a house that you want to sell, your agent needs to negotiate the sales price, right? That's where you can make more money.
Welcome back to the Cornerstone Realtor Team podcast. Today we are tackling a subject that has brought a lot of confusion about the law that was passed in August of 2024 about buyer's commission. So we're going to start out first by talking about the law before August 24, how it worked. So I'm going to go over to Jamil and ask him to explain it in simple terms.
So prior to August 2024, an agent will get a call from a seller. Agent goes to the seller's house, signs a listing contract for whatever fee they agreed on, and then that fee gets split and the buyer's agent gets paid half of the commission. Very simple, very to the point. They put it in the MLS and half of the fee, typically half the fee goes in the MLS. And when a buyer's agent brings a buyer to that listing because it's advertised on the MLS, then they'll get that fee. That doesn't happen anymore. Ramiz, what are the first two questions?
So Jamil, what should sellers do?
For sellers right now, the way that it happens now is they sign an agreement to pay their own agent. So the seller just agrees to that. There's nothing for them to do. But when a buyer's agent brings a buyer, then the buyer's agent is going to request a commission. And the commission, because the seller only has a commission agreement with the agent, with their own agent only, there's no advertising of commission on the MLS. That's why the buyer's agent has to request whatever commission they want, and the buyer's agent has an agreement with their buyer separately what their commission is. So if, let's say, the buyer's agent agreement is 3%, and the seller, and they make an offer, and the seller only wants to pay 2% of the 3%, then the buyer has to pay the difference, or the buyer's agent can reduce his commission if he or she wants. So that's a big difference, where prior to August 2024, buyers never paid commission, right? The seller can also reject the commission, but if a buyer's agent brought a buyer to your house as a seller, don't you think they deserve an incentive to close the sale, to help? Because that buyer's agent has a relationship with the buyer, and they're going to walk them through every step of the way in buying that house. There's a lot of things that happen during the process of, researching, putting the offer together, inspections, escrow. You need to walk with your agent, walk with the buyer. So it's very important that you have someone you can trust during that process.
Right. So which leads us to the second question that someone asked. Is it mandatory for buyers to pay commission to their own agent? Is it mandatory?
So it's not mandatory. That's not true. It's not mandatory.
But what you're saying, it's for the benefit of the buyer to have their own agent, and for the seller not to pay an agent, there'll be no service to be performed by the buyer's agent.
Right. If the seller doesn't want to pay a buyer's agent, then the buyer has to pay for the agent, and they may not be able to afford an extra $20,000, $50,000, $60,000 on top of their down payment. So that's why the buyer's agent will put it in the offer. Most of the time, they want, to put it in the offer and get paid from the seller, because that's what they're accustomed to prior to 2024. Right. Now that the new law is there, what they do is there's an agreement with the buyer, they sign it, which protects the agent, which is great. And then we ask for the commission when we make the offer. And I have to tell you, in the last year, 14 months, haven't seen too much pushback from sellers, because sellers understand that, hey, look, the buyer's agent brought a offer. They're going to have to get paid.
Right.
And who's going to walk with the buyer through this process? If the listing agent does, then they're going to want another fee. So you might as well have their own agent that they trust and that can walk them through every step of the way.
So I think, to clarify things, every worker is worth his hire. Anybody that works needs to get paid from somewhere. So they kind of left it loose, but it's definitely for the purpose of the buyer to have an agent. It's much better for them, for the agent to get paid from the seller.
So it's case by case. It's
Yeah.
It's always case by case. But what we're seeing is most sellers are paying the commission in what we have experienced, right? In the last 14 months. So definitely you can always negotiate. And I have to just tell you, real estate, everything in real estate is negotiable.
That's right.
Sales price, commissions, everything. It's all over our contracts. So
Right.
everything is negotiable. If you feel you don't want a big commission, talk to your agent about it. They can discuss and help you, but everything is case by case.
Definitely. Which leads us to our third question. From a seller standpoint, if you were a seller, is it beneficial for the sale that he pays for both agents as well as the buyer's agent, like to pay for both? Is it beneficial for the seller?
It is beneficial because then you open up yourself to more people looking at your house, right? If you strictly don't want to pay a commission to the buyer's agent, then the word's going to get around that you're not offering a commission because the agent can, the buyer's agents can ask the listing agent, are you offering a commission? You can advertise it in certain places, but not the MLS.
Right.
But if your standpoint is, I'm not paying commission, that's going to bring you less people. If you are paying a commission, again, that will bring you the most amount. So you think you're saving money, but you might not be. And you'll never know, really, until you try both ways and do a study on it.
Right.
So, and if you do a study on it, that takes time, and everything changes in time. So we always say, pay the buyer's agent. A workman is worthy of his hire, and let the most eyeballs come on the house, and trust your agent.
Right. Our fourth and last question. How can it work to the best advantage of someone who wants to put their home on the market? This whole new law, how can it work to the best advantage?
Negotiation. If you have a great house, if you have a house that you want to sell, your agent needs to negotiate the sales price, right? That's where you can make more money. And if there's a buyer's agent involved, fine. You need to pay them because they're bringing the offer, right? If they're bringing you an offer, they have to get paid by somewhere. You can try to negotiate it out, but they can also walk away. So how does that help you? So think about it. It's case by case. Have your agent negotiate, prep your house, make it look like a model home, and price it right, and it will get a lot of eyeballs. Hiring a good agent is super important. Someone you can trust, someone who knows what they're doing, someone that has been through it before and has a track record. And you can always call on us to help you.
And I would advise you, as a seller, your focus should not be about commission, but your focus should be getting top dollar for your home and prepping your home and the right negotiation on your behalf through your listing agent. I hope this has clarified some questions. If you have any more questions, feel free to comment below, send us an email, and we'd love to even have a one-on-one talk with you if you'd like to come by our office and chat more. We're always available. Thank you for watching the Cornerstone Realtor Team podcast, and see you next time.